when you're buying a trailer, when you're making that decision of what to do. You need a company that has core values. And then at the very end, this is the biggest thing ever. These guys eat it, they sleep it, they talk it because they believe it. And if you're not buying Alliance, I'm not kidding you, you're not getting the trailer that you think you're getting. Welcome, fellow adventurers, to our little spot on the internet. Join us as we explore our world.
Follow along as we share our adventures on the roads less traveled.
Here we are, Alliance headquarters. It's time for the tour. We got Caitlin, we got James, we got Esther, we got Eric. Dawn's at the front. And if you're not buying Alliance, you're not getting the best trailer out there.
So as we're walking back towards Lamination, you can actually see building one is this tan building here. So in mid-2019 until plant one was done, let's call it August, September of 2019, this is where all the action was happening. So you would have had Coley, Ryan, Jeremiah, Ab, and Bill sitting at a table in the middle of a random room, and the first unit was actually built, well, completed outside of this building because the door isn't tall enough to get the unit in the building. So that's
the one that's at the rally.
That is the one that was at the rally. So the first 2 units were built out of that building, and then we were live September 2019 in plant 1, and that's when everybody kind of came over, and that's when we started to get bigger production team, and that was kind of the very first part of the growth. But that building there, and then we've also purchased the building next to it, where it's our parts facility now. So we actually have a building where we can house a little bit more parts. We have a parts team. We can get things out a little bit quicker instead of having to find it on the line, pull it up, go and ship it out. So we also are growing that way. And then over here, if you took 17 in, there was a big paved lot, and that will be our holding yard. So those are kind of the things that we've done over the last 6 months, and I believe they're going to break ground on plant 4 sometime in December. So
wow,
campus is growing every day.
But why are you growing so much?
Why are we growing so much? Well, it's based on you guys, the customers. We are lucky enough to have a good customer base, and we're growing a lot, it seems like, in a short amount of time, but I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we've created a steady revenue source for our dealership that they find vital to grow their business the next level. RVs aren't new, and there are a lot of people building them. So when a new manufacturer launches, it's like, do I have space for it? Where we feel like our dealers are making space for our product, which is helping us grow.
And you guys didn't just rapidly expand into every market.
We did it.
Slowly came at it with.
No, so it was one product a year, starting with Paradigm. So we were luxury, full profile. Then they got into Valor, then Avenue, and then the next segment that we'll get into will be ultralights, which will
bumper pulls.
Each segment probably grew our business 20-30%. That will grow our business 50%. So that is going to be the biggest step we've taken to date once that is open and ready to roll.
That's awesome. And we just passed some caps without paint on them, or with paint but no stickers.
No graphics.
But that's, I think, one of the things that makes it fun is that when we're driving down the road, we see the big Alliance A coming, and we can tell by the paint color which one of the models it is. If it's white, it's an Avenue. If it's gold, it's a Paradigm. And of course, if it's black, the coolest color of all, then it's our Valor. So.
And that is by design. Coley and Ryan, a lot of brands within a company, Keystone, look at Forest River, they put the individual brand on every cap. And Coley and Ryan have always said that it will always be that Alliance A. And part of it is that recognition going down the road.
Well, I just think we need to come up with a translucent cap and some lights behind it. So when we're going down the road at night, we can see that.
So we're going to cut over this way. See if we can't find Drew and his team. It's a big campus. You can kind of see everything from here actually too, which is you got plant 1 behind us, which is going to be the Valor plant. Right. You've got plant 2, which is going to be the Paradigm plant, and then in the distance that is plant 3, which is the Avenue plant.
But then the most important plant of all then
is the lamination plant. So lamination was July this year, where we started laminating. They were using that building that everything started in. That was pseudo lamination. They were doing welding, they were doing all that stuff. But when we get into travel trailers, the capacity way outgrows that building. So this building has the ability to grow, or to build as many walls as the campus will need from now until whatever segments we get into. So this has a ton of capacity, and you'll see, I think right now they're probably using about 40–50% of this building. So this whole building is not even being utilized at this point. Each plant individually is unique to the concept that Coley and Ryan put together, which is we want to make a plant that not only works better for the production phase, but it's actually the people as well. So when we get inside the plant, and you can see it from the outside, we're trying to use windows. There's machines that make individual tasks a little bit easier. They have something to lift the caps, they have something to lift the slides, they have something to carry the ACs across the roof. All of those jobs in other plants are just sweat and tears, right? People are picking up sofas, people are picking up caps to put those on. People are doing all that stuff by hand. And it's a tough job in itself all alone without having those the ability to have machinery that helps you along. So Coley and Ryan definitely want to make our employees happy, and we want to keep them as long and keep them in as good health as long as we can. So each factory has its own special set, and it's going to be 120,000 square foot. And what we do here is every facility has a PDI of its own plant. So a lot of times on a campus, you'll see a centralized PDI where they build whatever units amount a day, and then every 10th unit or every 15th unit will have that PDI process. And what that does is allows you to catch major issues. Like if there's something that's failing on every unit that day, maybe you catch it, but you're not going to catch as much of the little stuff. We are 100% PDI, so that allows us to catch the little things. We're trying to look at even the putty voids and the little things that give you the aesthetic details. It's not just, hey, are our sidewalls falling off today? No? Good, we're good to go, right? Those are the things that you'll catch when you have a centralized PDI. Each plant has their own PDI, and PDI actually uniquely doesn't work for the plant manager either, which means Kevin or Ben, the guys that you're meeting out there, they can't say, oh no, this unit's good enough, right? Charles is who they all report to, and Charles is graded on quality, so he's not worried about rates. I think we've just engulfed ourselves into another group here.
Well, they came out of the cool factory, so you know they were in the Valor building. So
didn't get very far. Or did you start at the beginning?
Yeah,
It's open? Well, you see,
he's a big deal. Or is that Dill?
Yeah.
And who do we need to know to get one of these?
they don't have those in the other plants.
Wonder where they came from.
I think the guy you need to know to get anything anywhere on this campus is Coley Brady.
Ooh, it smells good in here.
Drew? Oh, he's probably left in the rock.
Well, the group that's with me, we're just going to kind of head down till...
Am I allowed to do
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
No pictures, no video.
that? I didn't know if you were special.
So remember I was telling you guys in the first part is where where we start welding all the stuff, the jigs, the sidewall, all the aluminum. Watch your
And when all else fails, when you're buying a trailer, when you're making that decision of what to do, you need a company that has core values. And then at the very end, this is the biggest thing ever. These guys eat it, they sleep it, they talk it because they believe it. And if you're not buying Alliance, I'm not kidding you, you're not getting the trailer that you think you're getting.
I was going to see if we could find Drew, but he's MIA.
I mean, we can drive his truck.
Oh, there's the golf cart.
Yeah.
So Ken, what are we looking at here?
So this is all the aluminum that's coming in for your sidewalls, for your floors, for everything. This is all pre-weld. So at this point, they haven't done any of the stuff. They haven't done any cuts. They haven't done any welds. This is just storage of raw aluminum.
So in the idea of production, you guys do it all, other than the benchmark frame that comes from Lippert.
And appliances and things like that. So yeah, there are some finished goods, but we are pretty much assembling everything. Anything that goes together is being assembled here on this campus.
So what is this stuff?
This is Asdel.
So this is the important stuff.
This is your interior wall. So this Asdel, our wall construction is fiberglass, high gloss fiberglass on the exterior, backed with Asdel. Asdel is going to be that water resistant material, lighter weight, going to give you a better installation value. Then you have your steel frame or your aluminum frame with the block foam insulation. And then what we do that nobody's doing right now is there's also another layer of Asdel on the interior sidewall. So when you look at most manufactured walls, they're doing Luan behind the fiberglass and Luan interior sidewall. Coachman actually does Asdel on the exterior, and then they're doing Luan on the inside. So without any wood in the wall, essentially those little water defies gravity in certain situations, those little pieces and bits of water aren't going to lead to delamination. Delamination is what Asdel is trying to avoid in large part.
And then the big thing about it is when you have walls, you also need to put a roof on it, and your roof is how long warranted?
Our material warranty for the roof is actually going to be lifetime. So the PVC material is lifetime. The construction or the assembly of the roof is 3 years. Same with the sidewalls, that would be under 3 years. So we have 1 year comprehensive, which is going to be all-encompassing warranty, and then you have your 3-year structural warranty. The structural warranty is essentially anything we put together here. So finished goods would not be under your structural warranty, but you would have sidewalls, you would have your roof, you would have your floor, all those things that we're assembling in the plant, your cabinetry, all that stuff is going to be part of that structural warranty.
Do you guys make your own cabinets too?
We do, yeah. We'll check it out when we get over to the plant.
That's incredible.
So this first stage is going to be obviously the welding. So they're putting together, every sidewall is specific to the floor plan itself. So it's not like we can just build 100 of the same sidewall. So a 382, or in your guys' case, 36V11, 40V13. Each individual floor plan is going to have its own sidewall and its own floor construction.
What's in the middle of your aluminum?
So these are wood stuff. So this is anywhere that you would see screws where they're not using welds. This is actually so that they can catch. So you're actually getting wood stuffed aluminum sidewalls.
Is that like extra stuffed pizza?
It's extra stuffed. That's the cheese. All through this first row or station is all welding. They're going to start over here. They're going to put over there, and then as they work this way, you're going to add the block foam, and then you're going to get into the lamination process, which now I see where Drew is. It sounds like he's got another group, or it looks like he has a group way down there. But this is all welding.
And each one of those is a jig, so that they're all exactly correct when they're finished.
Yes. And you'll probably see them over there. I don't know if they leave them out, but there are schematics for everything, and they have stencils almost that don't let, they help them not make errors. Well,
Like that?
everything's put away. They've got all that stuff put away.
But you also have books at the end of your rows and all that kind of stuff, so they can check all that stuff. And Ken, do you guys do your own bending?
No, everything, all the aluminum comes in as is.
The plant shut down for tours?
So the plants are shut down for the rally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So everybody we have is pretty much out there in one capacity or another. And usually, they work at least 7 days ahead of production. And they get ahead of production quite often. The capacity that we have in this building right now far outweighs what we're building. All 3 brands, we're building 25 units a day. They could build sidewalls for 150 units with the current capacity, the way things are set. So they get ahead sometimes too, which also helps us leave the walls plant side when you come in, and they can cure for at least that 7-day process once they're laminated.
So you build them and then you let them cure.
We do.
What's up with that?
So there are 2 ways to laminate a sidewall. You have pinch rolled and you have vacuum bonded, if you will. So most of the manufacturers in this industry will use vacuum bonded, which is essentially the process of putting the completed sidewall in some sort of bag and then sucking the air out of it. and that's what adheres. So if you take a stack of 10 walls and you're using vacuum bond, there's no guarantee that all walls are going to be 100% laminated. So what we use is and you'll see down here, is we use a pinch rolled application. So we are individually laminating walls one by one. That way we make sure it's the same lamination process for every single wall versus risking a stack of 10 walls going through something all at once.
So I don't know about you guys, but what I heard is Alliance doesn't suck their walls together.
That's exactly right. I'm gonna use that.
That's okay, because someone here keyed up the new coined term, and I actually talked to Ryan about it today. Hashtag always Alliance.
Okay.
And he said, that's a great idea. Because when we did our video on the 43V13 in Tampa, I got him to say it down there. So
yeah,
I've been doing that for a while.
So this is where we are starting to insert that block foam insulation. So all of our sidewalls for Paradigm Valor are going to be 2-inch. You'll have a 1/2 inch for the Avenue. And then when we get into the ultralight, those will be 1 inch. So pretty much everything you see in here, from what I can tell, is going to be either a Paradigm or Valor, and they usually write the floor plan somewhere on the frame on the insides here.
So while we were here, Ken, on my wall underneath the cap, it says in red, 43V prototype.
Yeah.
So we are proud.
One thing that a lot of people don't realize is we do build slide boxes in the factory, but all of the lamination and the frame is actually done in the lamination plant. So they're not building the sidewall exterior of that slide in the plant. They're just assembling the plant more. So this is going to be a slide. So all this stuff is cut in the factory, and then you're going to have that slide wall fascia, and then they build the box around the slide wall or the slide wall face.
And one of the cool things about that is when you guys cut the boxes out, they have the same fiberglass as everything else. So the fiberglass that comes out of the room and the wall is the same one that goes back in it.
Yes.
So they don't have any variation.
You got it.
Yes, I've watched all of the videos that Alliance has about the tours. So I'm really stoked that we get to do this ourselves.
See if we can't get through here and check out a pinch roller. This is really where the lamination process per se starts. This is going to be welding. This is going to be building the frame. This is where you're going to start that lamination process.
Why do we have this big curtain?
You know, I don't know if it's to keep fumes out or if it's just to keep, like over here when they're cutting this block foam, it gets a lot in the air, and in here you've got a lot of glue smell. So I think they're just maybe trying to keep some of those smells and fumes and things from kind of coming together. When this plant is running, you smell the glue. When you're over here, is like a small dust cloud of block foam just from cutting it and do all those things. So I'm assuming they're just trying to keep that separate. And then where they are down there, which is, I'm assuming where Drew is, that is that part of the plant that we're essentially not using right now. They're just kind of letting walls cure over there. We've had dealers come out here where we set up units in this building. So this is kind of the end of what we're actually using. And this is the pinch roll process. So you'll see your fiberglass here. They're gonna bring those walls in, already have that block foam in, and then they're gonna put a layer of fiberglass, layer of Asdel, sidewall, and then another layer of that Asdel material. They're gonna be using adhesive. All of the machine that does the adhesive is actually right there. And then you've got your pinch roll here.
So when you say fiberglass though, most people imagine fiberglass from a chopping gun, like when they're building boats and that kind of thing. This is more along the lines of a fiberglass reinforced plastic, because it's so flexible.
It's fiberglass, but what it truly is it's high gloss Phylon, which is a form. It's fiberglass particle. I mean, it's fiberglass composite. Fiberglass composite, I guess, would be a good way to put it. But yeah, it's actually, the term that they use is Phylon.
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 Almost like it came from Battlestar Galactica and it's a Cylon.
Yeah, there you go. So here, these are probably the next walls that are going to go on the table. That machine will actually adhere or use glue, it will spread it evenly. So we're not doing that by hand. There is a machine that makes sure it's the right thickness, because, and I guess in my mind as a consumer, too much glue wouldn't be a problem, but it is a problem just as much as not enough glue would be a problem. So they make sure that every single time they're using that, it's going to be completely distributed evenly, a thin layer, and it's going to touch everything so that you're having that full lamination process take place.
Because delam's the worst thing you can have in a trailer?
Delamination, I've heard before, is not good. We've never experienced it, so we don't know for sure, but it's not something you want to do.
Did I hear superior product just then? What is this? A lot of people want to know. You put all this foam in here and then there's this random piece of metal.
These are backers. So this could be something, depending on where we are looking at a sidewall. There are backers throughout. I don't know.
Heater.
It's for putting
plumbing.
screws in. So
Yeah, it just depends on, I guess, where
like there's
it
a
is.
backer over there and there's a backer
So
up
all of
there.
these thinner pieces are also, so if you see this stuff this is actually to keep the block foam in as well. So that is going to be a backer, but some of these pieces that run full length, they're actually just holding everything kind of together in place.
And then what's this?
So these are all of your windows. This is just window bracing. So this is actually just added support for your windows versus just kind of, it also helps guide the windows into.
But I've watched a lot of tours and some of the other manufacturers just put in squares and they get close and
they put in squares, or they won't use them unless it's like a bigger window. We use them, we're using them everywhere. So these are going to be, there'll also be additional supports over slides, the different things like that. But yeah, so these are all for your window. The plant works this way. So this is kind of where they're putting it through the glue, then it's going to go through the pinch roll. So we're actually going, we came in from the end of the line, if you will. And I don't know what they're talking about over here, but this is Drew. Drew Atkinson is actually going to be the plant manager. This is his brainchild. This is what he runs every day. So he's probably saying some things that are from him working in here daily.
all right, Drew, now that you said it for everybody else, now you get to repeat it.
Do I really have to repeat it?
Well, we didn't catch the whole spiel
Well, why didn't you listen?
because we were over there.
That's not my fault.
We came in late.
Yeah, no.
All right. So how do you want me to do this? Do you want me to go from the beginning?
No, just he was very informative about how this comes across. But you know, we've watched some of the videos about how proud you are of your team and
I love it.
how your team comes across. Yeah. So tell us about how this whole works.
All right.
We've seen the walls, we've seen the foam.
Okay. So once it comes through lamination, lamination is they put the fiberglass, the exterior Asdale, interior Asdale, and then the next day comes to the routing department. All of our walls are routed 24 hours after they're laminated.
Why?
Because so according to the chemist at our glue company HP4, they suggest that it wait 18 hours, right? Because it's the green strength has time to meet its optimal peak. The green strength is the most crucial part of the bonding process. You want it to sit. Green strength kind of goes like this in spurts, but after 18 hours, it's reached its optimal peak, and then you can flex it without interfering with the bonding process.
So it's just a big sheet comes out like that, and then you let it sit for...
Like the walls. So the walls come out on a cure table. When it comes out and it sits for 18 hours, all that's left to do with this wall is route all the panels and stuff. It's already got the aluminum, it's got the foam, it's got the fiberglass in both panels. They'll take this wall, they'll roll it out, slide it out on the routing station, and then they'll make it look like that. They route all of the side out openings, windows, overhangs in the front, back, and top. They'll route all the cargos, the jack box and furnace. Everything that the engineer calls and tells us to do on our blueprint, this is where we do it.
And there's no splits down the wall. Some of the manufacturers, they've got a piece and they can only handle so long. You create a single solid piece.
Yep.
From nose to tail,
Exactly.
top to bottom.
Top to bottom, 100%. It is one piece. because it's meant to be that way.
How important is that though for making our trailers better?
Oh, it's crucial. So here, let me see if I can show you something. So you've seen the weld shop and all the other steps
Yeah.
of the process. See how we weld everything in a fixture. Well, we weld everything in a fixture, and because we do that, when this unit, or this sidewall specifically, goes over to the production line that it's gonna get assembled at, they will set this sidewall onto the chassis and then cut the slide outs out to go to the slide out department. Now that's a very strategic thing that I'm sure they'll explain later, but this slide out has the unit number that this sidewall has on it in the back. And the reason why is because we want this plug wall to go back into this sidewall because it was made together. So we want to be able to put the plug wall back in it because then it's back to the one piece.
So if there's
better
any
sealed,
variation in the coloring,
it's going to match it.
that'll be exactly.
Exactly.
This is the wall that came with your trailer, and
Exactly
it's
right.
on all the slides, so
Exactly.
it all goes back the same.
Exactly right. We put unit numbers on all of our parts, unit and model numbers for this specific reason. That way that it seals better, it goes in and out better. I mean, it's just better overall. So,
We like better.
amen to that. So after they're done routing it, they will blow the wall off completely, and then they will go back through. One guy will, and he will blow the seams out on the interior decor side to get all the dust and debris and stuff out.
All that
So-
little foam particles that were
Yes, all
kind of
this-
working this.
all that stuff right there, all this router dust. So it will get on the sidewall. We blow it off, and then we blow it off again, blow the seams out to get all that extra debris out of there. And then two guys go behind him and they use a clean rag every time. They saturate it with isopropyl alcohol. They wipe the seams down. They start in the back. They work to the front. By the time they get to the front, the back is already dry, so it's prepping the wall to promote adhesion for the seam tape that we apply before it gets loaded up on the cart. So we put seam tape on the wall front to back. Every single seam is completely covered.
So our interior walls
Your interior walls
are Asdel,
yes, sir.
and they've got our finished material on it.
Yep.
But those boards are joined differently than the outside wall,
There
and
you
you
go.
have seam tape that goes down those to make it look sexy.
Smooth, exactly. I mean, I would put pictures of me on it, but, so we put the seam tape on. That way you don't see that seam. It's hard to see the Asdale seam anyway because the tolerance in the thickness is just so precise.
So that's probably one of the biggest things to understand is the Luan, the plywood, because that's basically what it is. It's really super thin plywood, is very inconsistent.
Oh yeah.
And because the Asdel is manufactured, and what did you say it was made out of?
It's polypropylene and fiberglass.
So that allows them to have closer tolerances for manufacturing, and so we have less deviation in the wall.
Exactly. You've got less chances. So what the traditional OEM would kind of have to deal with, like D-lams or protruding seams or aluminum tube telegraphing, just any kind of. So with Luan, because it goes through a mill, right? And when it goes through a mill, after it's cut, it's got beveled edges to it. So it's got thicker edges than what the center is. So you always see that Luan seam. Typically you see it less than a double layer, but you'll always see it no matter what. And it's always fighting against the fiberglass because it doesn't move in unison. The Asdale being made out of fiberglass moves at the same temperature as the glass, so it's never fighting against each other, and it's less likely to have D-lams.
So if everything's moving at the same time, there's less
Exactly.
undesirable movement that makes problems down the line.
Exactly.
There's a video where a guy takes a piece of Luan cased fiberglass and he throws it in a bucket of water right next to a piece of Asdel, and at the end he puts his fingers on the back of the Luan and just scratches, and the wood comes right off.
Exactly.
And he tries to get his fingernails in between the Asdel and the fiberglass. That doesn't work. He goes and gets a screwdriver and puts a screwdriver in it and is trying to get it, and then he gets a hammer and hits it, and the fiberglass actually broke, and the Asdel never separated from the
That's
the
doing it
substrate.
right. I mean, that's the reason why we've got process controls from the start all the way to the finish that ensures absolute optimal quality no matter what.
And at the end of the day, because I worked in construction for a long time, there's some stuff around here, but you guys run a very clean plant. What's the importance in a situation like this to make sure that this plant's as clean as possible? What are you trying to avoid when you're putting the walls together and all that kind of stuff?
Three things. So, and everybody's heard me say it, I love my team. dearly. Their family. So a clean shop is a safe shop. I want them to be able to go home to their families safe, you know, with 10 fingers, 10 toes, if that's what they came here with. Second of all, if you're working a clean environment, you're more focused on your quality. So you don't have to focus on not tripping over something. The walls look better. You're able to do it right the first time more often. And also, dust is lamination's worst enemy. I mean, it's, you know, dust, glue, try to stick them together, or something else, and it doesn't work. So we just keep a clean shop because it also helps keep a bright attitude.
So not only are you doing the right thing for us as family on the outside, but you're doing the right thing for family on the inside.
Yes, sir.
I like that.
Yeah, wow. It's,
Drew, thank you very much. We appreciate what you do for us, man.
Appreciate
It's really awesome. So this is the reason that we buy Alliance. I'm not kidding you. If you're not buying Alliance, you're buying a second-rate trailer. And I hate to say that, but when you see how this is done, it's actually true. So we're gonna go see how they build our Valors, because we all own Valors. So Ken, being you've been in this industry for so long, a lot of people come back to the factories to have service done on their trailers, but a lot of those places, they just do it out in the parking lot.
Well, there's usually outside of maybe the major 3 players, they are doing service at the plant out of complete obligation or to avoid lawsuits and things like that. There's no program in place to do customer service units outside of like Keystone has a customer service facility that they do customer service units, but if people are doing Forest River or KZ or some of these smaller companies, they're not set up to do it at all. So yeah, they're essentially either doing it on the line if they have the time, or it may be outside of a bay, or it may be, you know, wherever they can find the spot or time. And that's just because it's not within their business model to do service directly to the customer.
But that's not a deal here.
It's not.
Alliance has their own bays, 15,000 feet, I was told.
So we're kind of in the process. Each plant has the own ability. There's a bay dedicated in each plant where they do the service units, but there is at the end of the line, there's probably about 10,000 square feet where there's nothing there consistently, where they can work on units, work on service units. But the plan is to have a separate building at some point where that is everything. So right now, if a Paradigm comes back for service, it's going to go to plant 2. A Valor is going to go to plant 1, and an Avenue plant 3. We're aiming towards an on-site facility where everything will be service related. There's no production.
Awesome.
So this is where the chassis come in. So I think we'll probably have to go around this back side here. But these are the next chassis on the line. This is what Lippert does. So everything you see here is what it comes to us. So being that we are in the Valor plant, you'll see here a lot of questions about what that garage track is fastened to. We aren't putting that into the floor, where there are some manufacturers that will just bolt that directly to whatever that substrate is, whether it's wood, whether it's composite. We actually have a steel frame that runs the length of the garage. This is what they're tying those L tracks into, so you have that extra stability. It is welded directly to the frame, and that comes from Lippert. We're not doing that in-house. The other thing is all of our welds that we talk about for that 2-inch torsion tube and the reinforced spring hangers. This is done from Lippert. The reason that is an advantage to the customer is because Lippert is a welding company, right? Alliance is a manufacturer, and we do some welding in the lamination plant, but that's aluminum. We're talking about steel welding, which is different. So when you're trying to do these things and you're trying to be too much, you have those errors, or you have the situations where we're not welding correctly. But we rely solely on Lippert for all of the welds for our running gear, and also to weld on that additional support for the bracket. This is the finished good that comes from Lippert. This is still on their lovely equipment here. So they're gonna go inside, flip this over with a machine, which we'll see inside, and that's where they're gonna put, the first step when it goes into the plant is they're gonna put on your axles and your wheels, and then they're immediately going to start plumbing and electric. So this is the next unit. This is, no, it's actually that door. So that is the first door that they go into the plane.
So the torque tube that you're talking about is this torsion tube.
Yep. So
that's on top. This is different because most people just weld to the I-beam.
Yeah. So most people, there are two things that you would see missing on other manufacturers. They're not going to have that reinforced V-bracket, and they're not going to have a torsion tube. So this torsion tube is going to help all of the road damage dissipate away from your sidewall and your frame. So this is the thinnest piece on your I-beam, right? This is where everybody else is welding all of their running gear to. The problem with running gear and tires and those things that people we ask the customer at the beginning, what's the number one thing you fix today if you start a manufacturer? And a lot of people surprisingly said, we just get better tires. Well, better tires doesn't solve the fact that 10 years ago, these floor plans weighed on average 9,000 to 10,000 pounds, and now they're 14,000 pounds, but there was no update in that running gear. So all the stress that's putting on the tire is what's causing tire blowout. It's not the manufacturer of the tires. So this allows us to keep our welds intact. So when your spring hanger doesn't function, when this breaks free, you don't have your spring leaves. When this torsion tube isn't in place, you're putting a lot of extra damage on that thin piece of I-beam, and you're also putting up a lot of vibrations through your wall, which is going to help you in the long run. So this is the foundation. This is kind of where everything started with Alliance, and the torsion tube, along with what we're doing differently with the running gear itself, is a big part of what we're doing.
And this has a special name.
The benchmark chassis?
So much so that you named the road coming in here that?
I don't know which one came first. That's a good question. We should ask Coley that.
The chicken or the egg?
The chicken or the egg. I think that we might have been at one point, an LLC that we had originally might have been Benchmark RV. So that's a word that resonates with Coley and Ryan. You'll have to ask him. I'm not sure the significance, but I know that Alliance RV was taken, and then the dealership bought out, and we were Benchmark RV, we were Blueprint RV, and then Alliance RV was the final name when we came to market. So I'm assuming they named this frame as well. The Benchmark chassis, a lot of what you talk about, a lot of what you see in your upper deck, when you get to the top of the stairs all the way through the closet, you have that flush floor. So around your bed, you don't have that additional lip. Around the sidewall, you don't have that additional lip, which takes up some of your living space. That is one of the key components of the Benchmark chassis. It's all based on how they're welding and using thicker material up here. So if you look, you don't see on the standard frame anything that's this thick or this heavy. We're doing this so we don't have to use bracing throughout or around to give you those lips around the bed and things like that. So they're just using a thicker material so that can support that complete upper deck and give you that flush floor.
It looks so different, empty.
It does.
Trying to imagine my trailer like this, finished out.
It doesn't seem like this is your bedroom space and bathroom space either, right?
Right. Crazy.
Hopefully these doors didn't get locked on us. We've got axles if you need an extra.
Oh, can I just throw a couple of those in the trailer?
If you can carry them.
Did you see James? I got James. He's a built-in forklift.
I better take with it to see and James.
See what they got.
Way a little bit.
This is also part of that running gear. So everybody else is going to be using a 1/4-inch shackle. This is what secures your CRE 3000, and we use a 1/2-inch shackle. So these essentially, as you're going down the road, are popping in and out of place, and you'll see people that get egg-shaped. You'll see them completely snap. When that happens, your suspension is not going to be giving you the full work there, and when you have no suspension, all of that up and down movement, again, going back to your tires and causing some of those issues that you're having long term.
And they have grease zerks on them.
They do.
Why?
Yes. So for the customer that wants to do it themselves, you can grease your own axles, you can grease your own suspension, all that stuff, just to keep up daily upkeep.
And you guys use a different tire than everybody else in the industry.
Yeah.
What is the point of that?
We use a Super G 14-ply tire.
Entrez-vous.
Go ahead.
Entrez-vous. Gotta get you all famous on camera.
Terrible. You're gonna cut that out.
I might. I might put it in our Nang Gang videos.
this is the door that they come in. The tire was what we were talking about. So we use a 14 ply Super G, and they're all rated for 4,400 pounds. The average tire of a competition is around 4,000 pounds. So we're giving you about 400 pounds per tire more of weight rating. So with these growing carrying capacities, these growing side-by-sides, all of these things that we're putting in our campers, we're rating the tire for more of that.
Less likely to have issues with tires.
Tire blowouts. You got it.
So
Tire
they
blowouts
come
are a big part of what we were trying to solve with the running gear.
So they come from the factory with the level up system with the 2 front jacks installed?
No, these are installed in the plant.
Nice.
So everything, and we haven't even gotten to any of the other ones here. So yeah, all of this is the chassis flipper here. So this unit is actually going to be probably first thing Monday morning. I don't think there's production till Monday. They'll pick it up, flip it over, put the axles on, put the tires on, secure all the running gear, and then push it down the line where we'll start electrical and plumbing.
And one of the things that you guys do that's different than everyone else is there's all these reels of electrical wire here, but they've all got different colors. Why do you do that?
So it's more for, I guess the end result is the customer gets a better experience because you'll spend less time in service. So when you open up some of the other RVs in the industry, you have to guess and check. So when you're looking for the slide wire for the exterior slide 2, you've got to test a couple wires. You may know a general bunch of slides, but there could be up to 4, 5, 6 wires within that bundle. And until you know which slide you're going to, we actually color code them. So the purple and white wire will give you the indication that it's a slide wire, and it'll also tell you where it is in the arrangement. Every slide, so if you look at your panel, which you probably figured out, it's the off door side furthest slide to the top will always be slide 1, and then it works clockwise.
So what you're trying to tell me is if I need to do service, there's an actual wiring diagram that gives me some idea where to look.
There is, yeah. So it's all goes back to the owner empowerment, right? Anything that we can do that can help a customer fix some of the smaller issues they have in situations where it doesn't need to go to a dealership who can't get you in for a month, it gives you that added level of, well, here's this wire, and it helps us talk our customers through those things and know what to look for. This is also where you can get a good look at the steel cage for the freshwater tank. So they didn't have it in over here. So this is where we are mounting that to the frame. All of our freshwater tanks are 98 gallons, which I think a gallon of water is around 8 pounds. So if you wanted to travel with 1,000 pounds of water in transit, a hurricane strap isn't always going to hold that in. A lot of manufacturers will rely on what you'll look at for this tank being molded to the frame or sitting on that ridge. Typically you're not going to be traveling with anything in your gray, black, things like that. But with your freshwater, if you are at home and you prefer your water, or if you're not going to be somewhere where you can get water at the end point, you have that freedom to travel with watering capacity if you choose.
Which is kind of important for us that own toy haulers because we're planning on boondocking.
It's a lot more important for toy haulers than it is, and you know, we get a lot of people that are out in the middle of the desert for extended periods of time, and you just don't have access to water. So 98 gallons, it's a bigger tank, and it is nice and secure. So this is the fully assembled running gear, which some of us have probably climbed under our trailer, but you can see you've got all these grease. You've got your you got your 1/2 inch shackle, your Moride CRE. Your spring hangers, we use 8K springs and 7K axles. That is by design too. We do get a lot of people that question, you know, can I get 8K axles? I want to carry more. What we found through our engineering team, that 8K axles wouldn't actually increase your carrying capacity 1,000 pounds, but having 7K axles and 8K springs gives you an added layer of protection. And visually, the best way to explain it is, I'm sitting here, my legs are rated for 200 pounds, and I start jumping up and down. I need some extra support to give me that force, or to protect me from that force I'm creating with that up and down movement, which is why your springs are rated for more than your axles. And you got your stinky slinky covered carrier.
Nice.
It's nice and quiet in here today, which you can actually, usually we wouldn't be able to hear each other. We'd be staring eye to eye contact. You wouldn't hear anything I say, but there's no production, so we kind of have the place to ourselves here.
Why are they dated?
What's that?
Why are they dated?
That is the frame when it gets here.
Oh, gotcha.
And this number is going to be,
Part of the cereal?
no, it's not. I don't know what this number is, to be honest, but this is the date that we received the chassis. That could be all from, well, that could be a VIN.
Or maybe a purchase order.
No. It's probably the serial number of the chassis.
So I find it hard to believe that with nothing built on top of it, you don't want to ship the unit.
Well, it's not ideal quite yet to get these out on the road. The running gear is good, but it's not going to keep you covered. All of these first 4 stations are electrical and plumbing, so you can kind of feel free to get in here. You'll see all the PEX plumbing. You'll see that there is no braided plumbing. You'll see our organized chaos, which is all of that color-coded wiring. You see all of the plumbing start to take picture. You see the enclosed underbelly. All of the tanks have heating pads. All of this stuff is being assembled before they get to the last station where they put on the floor. The floor is actually constructed back here on the off side here. So you see you've got your true board over here, you've got all of your bow flooring, and this is your completed floor construction. So within this is your frame. It's going to be block foam for your frame. You're going to have a layer of wood decking, and it's all going to be wrapped in this Darko before they put on that bow flooring. And this is just a moisture barrier. Any questions or anything that you guys want to see through this early stage? Anything you're curious about?
Is this
I was
Valor
like
or
when-
Paradigm? Or everything?
So this plant is Valor. This is, in fact, a Paradigm. I don't know why this is in here.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them because those are all Paradigm
Cabinets
islands.
They are, yeah.
must be slowing down on the Valors.
Well, I'm trying to think of what floor plan this is.
The islands are different.
This isn't the new floor plan.
And this has got all that storage underneath it.
Yeah. That's how you know it's paradigm.
Well, I was wondering if they're maybe they're the new floor plan. Maybe they're building the new floor plan in here at first. This is a 340.
SA340RLs.
And Plant 1 is the earlier established plant. Plant 1 has a little bit more capacity. We've always built 310s in Plant 1 until probably, this could be the very last run of Paradigms in this plant, but you can run anywhere from 15 to 18 a day in this plant. Plant 2 is around 10 a day. So with 310s and 340s being our top 2 selling floor plans, they do run them in bulk sometimes throughout this plant. Yeah. We're getting to a Valor right up here.
And these are to stick on so that they know where they're at.
So this would be actually what's completed.
That model has the lights, the accent lights in the sink.
Yeah, we need to talk about that, Mr. Ken.
The other ones that we saw had lights under it.
Yeah, all the accent lights, but we don't have accent lights on our sink.
The perfect people to talk to are all the guys out, and I don't know if what you're talking about, the accent light around the edge of the
Around the
sink?
sink,
Yeah.
in the islands.
The 42 and the 43 don't have them anymore.
Anymore.
Yeah, would they never?
So today Coley told me that they stopped it, but, okay, you stopped it, but mine was supposed to have it and didn't have it.
Yeah, that is the people that can solve that problem are at the Elkhart Fairground today.
I got Charlie,
You got Charlie?
yeah.
We've
Here
had
we
so
go.
many people walking through and I couldn't tell you how.
This is kind of cool. I like seeing this background.
What is this?
So this is where we start roof work. This is where this is scaffolding essentially, and it's hydraulic lift that we use so the guys can walk around on the edges. So you'll see they're walking both sides of this. They're starting once the sidewall goes on. They're running.
They're not on a 12-foot ladder trying to do all that?
Not usually, no. Sometimes we put them on shoulders when we're really busy. No, yeah, everything is going to be done via the scaffolding. So this is where your roof construction works, and you can actually, if you want to get a decent shot of the plant, you can climb.
Those stairs over there?
Oh, there's in the other plant. There's some right here. No, that's not. Those stairs are going to take us
Up and over.
to the actual offices. Maybe there must
All right, goes both sides.
Oh, you can go both ways?
Yeah.
This gives you a nice shot of the complete plant.
And so instead of building roofs down on the main floor and then lifting them up, you guys build the roofs up here?
So we build the roofs on the opposite side, and yeah, so probably see right directly across. All of your roofs are built. All your roof is built up there on that station right there where you see kind of that's the table for the roof.
But one of the things you guys do that's a little bit different than everybody else is you build the roofs in sections, not just one great big huge piece that when you pick it up it twists and torques and...
Yeah, so they do build it in sections, and it is simply because it's hard to get from... There's a machine that takes it, that machine that's straight across from us, it will lift up the roof and lay it flat. So they build it in sections just to have a little bit less flex to use. I mean, we don't use a ton of ductwork, but as you can imagine, any ductwork that there is when you're trying to take a 40 feet piece of roofing, you're bending, you're twisting, you're smashing some of that stuff.
Well, and all of the Alliance products, the only thing that's ducted is the bathroom and the bedroom because everything else dumps directly into the trailer.
So in Paradigm and Valor, it is the bathroom only, except for the 390, you would have the mid-bunk area. And Avenue, there are some different ways that they do AC just because they do 2 standard instead of 3 standard. But Paradigm and Valor, that would be your only ductwork outside of the 390.
Nice.
And you can see that we don't have to use any connection pieces. So when you look at ductwork, where things start to fall apart is where you have to connect them. They can use too much tape. They can use not enough tape. They can smash it. They can step on it. They can nail it. All of those different things are what happens to the ductwork, which every little hole in that ductwork, every closure during that ductwork is going to give you less AC flow. So with the original 2 ACs, the main AC and the rear AC, it's going to be direct flow, so you don't have that human error element. And then with this AC, it's all going to be straight line ductwork, so we don't have any connection pieces.
And then I've watched some plant tours of some of the others, and they have, it looks like a great big huge racetrack that goes all the way through the trailer, and then their air conditioners are connected to that. What's the issue with that? Well, do we have to cool that down before we actually get cold air into the trailer?
Well, the same issue is whether it's racetrack, whether it's straight line, all of the things is you're taking AC and trying to pass it through the hottest part of the coach. So when this unit's closed up and you're in the state of Florida, it could be anywhere from 100 to 115 degrees in that roof cavity, and then you're taking cold air and trying to distribute it 15 to 25 feet. It's just not as effective as direct dump ACs.
And then you guys do something different as well with the PVC roof.
Yeah, so the PVC material will probably go on in about 4 or 5 stations, and then usually you can see the big roll. They might not have it set up just because they're not in production. But yes, we are using PVC. So it's got a couple great properties. The major thing for me with PVC is it's just easier to own as a consumer. When you have TPO, it's porous, so you have to worry about sealing that roof so it doesn't dry out. You're also being asked to have it inspected every other year to keep your warranty active. With PVC, outside of walking your seams and being a responsible RV owner, you're not going to have to go back and worry about it. It's more of a set it and forget it. If you're not a handy person that wants to get out and do all the gadgets and gadgets, you don't have to worry about that PVC material, and then it comes with that lifetime warranty. And it also, within the warranty, they won't void your warranty if you patch a roof. So they have PVC patches and cement that you can actually repair your own roof. If you're up in the mountains or you're somewhere in Yellowstone where you can't get to a dealership quickly, you can actually patch the hole in the roof without having to end your camping trip, go find a dealership, and then maybe not get your camper back for the season. You can patch it, have it addressed at a later date.
And it's way more puncture resistant than rubber?
It is. It's so TPO, rubber, all that material. It's semi-puncture proof. We've got some in there, and you can get a pin through it. PVC, there's no situation where you're going to be standing with a piece of rubber roof and trying to stab a pin through it, but I've yet to be able to get it through. And it's definitely got a little bit more resistancy and puncture. It punctures at a higher rate.
Nice. We like puncture resistant.
Puncture resistant.
And I'm noticing the wood, it doesn't look like it's a lot of, shall we say, composite fake wood.
No, so we do paper wrap some of our styles. You would have a hardwood cabinet front, but all of the paper that is it's wrapping true wood. We're not using anybody's scraps.
Nobody's scraps. I like that.
Okay. Well, we can hang out in the lobby. Yeah, that's fine. Let's just go hang out in the lobby. And
You lose somebody?
they're drivers. They went on a voucher.
They're in the
Shuff took somebody into the lamination plant.
they're in the lamb plant.
Okay. Maybe we can check that out. All right.
You can call Ryan and ask him.
Yeah.
You don't mind it? That's
Which way did you go in and out?
door over by all the axles.
And the break room door at the lamination plant.
So the cabinetry is on the other side.
So the cabinetry is being done below. So the slides are going to be done below. All the cabinetry is going to be back here, and there's some more cabinetry over there, depending on what it is. And then you're doing a roof, and then there's storage up top. A lot of people that do their first factory tour don't realize that RVs are kind of built inside out, right?
Yeah.
Your sidewall, once your sidewall goes on, there's not much that we're putting in terms of structure.
Right.
We skipped a couple steps back, but get a lot of questions that people want to hang stuff on walls. You'll see that all of our interior sidewalls do have studs that are 16 inches on center. So just like you would at home, you can go and find a stud within your interior sidewall, hang a photo, do any of that type of stuff. We always use a lot. I always use command strips for everything, even at my own personal house. So
Thank you, Ken. Because I'm getting glared at. She's like, I can put stuff on the walls now. No, command strips.
Yeah, I do command strips.
How do you guys
Except
get these stripes to be the same? Because we have literally 5 valors sitting right next to each other, and the stripes are the same on both sides.
So the stripers, or the it happens to be females in this plant that walk around and do this. It's surprisingly off of memory, but they have marks that they're using, whether it's going to be the point on a sidewall or the position on a slide. They find starting points, but they're doing after, I'm sure day one they didn't start it off of memory, but you'll see them walking through and there'll be stickers taped to the sidewall. It looks like they're got most of these already applied, but it's all based on them picking a mark and then applying the stripes off of memory. There are guides off to the side, but you'll never see them using them. They're just running around here, and it's probably the most impressive thing in the plant.
Tape measure in their back pocket, making marks, and then putting them on.
Putting them on, yep.
And they have...
And they do, I mean, it's the process. All of these, you have a lot of people that will try to apply stickers while the walls are curing or why they end up outside and things like that. So we do aim to put all of the stickers on inside of the factory. This is temperature controlled, climate controlled, so it gives that sticker the proper temperature to actually adhere to the sidewall versus being you know, we're in Indiana, right? We get all the seasons. So there's times where it's -20 and there's times where it's 100 degrees. Stickers don't stick in those extreme conditions very well.
Smart.
That is, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that happens here, but them and the fact that they have all this stuff memorized and they never mess up, we don't waste any stickers. If I did this job, I would put Alliance out of business in a week.
Just in sticker abuse.
And I look at these things day after day, and if somebody came to me and said, I will give you $1 million if you get one stripe right, I don't think I could do it. I would pick a cap stripe if they let me do that, because I think that's kind of cheating. For any of the sidewall graphics, I'm out. I'm gonna fail. You got your batten insulation and your cap. You also see that we use astrofoil. Our R values are based on the actual insulation material. So you will have some manufacturers that you see inflated R values. Maybe they're 20, 28, 24, whatever that number is. We give you the same R value that is provided by block foam and what's provided by batten insulation. One of the things at Alliance that Coley and Ryan really aim to do is to be transparent and for consumers to understand the conditions of which the RVs are built for. If you give somebody an R value of 28 in a sidewall and your home is less than 20, they're expecting that same experience in colder temperatures. They're expecting to be able to last longer into the camping season. And we really don't want, it's not that we don't want campers, people using the campers in colder seasons, but we just want the customer to understand what is required to truly be a 4-season camper.
That's called the 70-degree line.
The 70-degree line?
Yeah, I'm going to put a line on the back of the trailer that has 70 degrees in it.
Chase it away.
And I'm going to have an arrow up and a down. Wherever the 70 degrees, that's where we're going.
Exactly.
Because she doesn't like freezing.
I love freezing. I spent 6 months in it. I love freezing. I'm fine with freezing.
So the Asdel on this side is way thicker than the Asdel on this side.
On the interior wall, yeah.
But between the Asdel rating for R value, the block foam on the outside.
So that's where things get misconstrued. So every piece of the wall construction has an R value, but we don't add them together. We just publish the R value of the block foam. So if you look at like an HVAC system or company, what they're telling, the way you rate an R value or the way you are given R value is the greatest density of insulation within the wall construction, not the combination of all of the R values of the materials in the wall. So that's why we're giving you the R value of block foam, which means if we added those all up, Asdel has a higher R value than Luan. So we would have these big inflated numbers that would give that expectation.
I can go park at the North Pole and camp.
There you go.
So this is where they're poaching that big red A.
Yes.
I think that's where it's coming from.
So we are looking, if you look above, I kind of touched on it. Coley and Ryan definitely had a goal to make this process as easy as possible on our plant's bodies. And a lot of camps will, or a lot of manufacturers will by hand pick up these caps and put them in place. We actually have this machine here. And you see they are actually using it. Up here on this stage, once the Luan goes, or once the PVC goes in place, they have a little cart that carries across and is going to carry the ACs for them, so they're not holding that up and together.
About that at the welcome. He
Yeah.
talked about how he was going to. Their goal was to make it as less stressful and wearing on the body of the
There are a lot
their
of
family.
There are a lot of jobs in this plant that I physically cannot do at the age of 35, and we've got guys in here in their 50s, and their bodies are a little bit more used to it, but we're finding ways to help them, I guess, longevity-wise.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is PVC here. This is the roll of PVC. One of the gentleman that was helping that couple find their group, he was our sales trainee, and what they did is they had him work in the plant for a week. And he said that the hardest job in this plant is once they've added the wood decking to the floor, they add the Mylar, they do the adhesive. There's 2 guys that hold each end of this PVC, and their job is to run to the complete other side of the RV before it touches the adhesive, because Mylar, things like that. And if it gets down and touches the roof before they get to the end, you're essentially going to have to discard that entire batch of PVC. but the pulling resistance on this, like it's not like if we just lean back, it won't come out. Like, I mean, you've got to give it some pull. And there are gentlemen that are just sprinting across this, I don't know, 2-foot beam all day long with 500 pounds of resistance in their hand. Pretty impressive stuff sometimes.
How does OSHA feel about that?
I don't know.
You're not supposed to ask.
Has this type of stuff, and the back has that type of stuff.
So the thought process behind if you use both of those steps is if you get up close to somebody, you can't get that step out, so you can't get into your camper. If we use both of the solid steps, there are places where you're parking it for storage, there are places that the dealerships are parking it, so that always gives you that freedom to get into your camper regardless of how close the next item is. So it's just a little bit of both worlds. You can, I mean, if we had a camper, 2 or 3 feet away from this camper, you can't get that step down.
Right, it needs the 3 or 4 feet there.
Yes, yeah.
So
Can't get up on.
On that one,
Yeah.
It's too high.
it's too high.
She has a vertical challenge.
Well, and there are actually solid steps now that kind of coil like that and still touch the ground. So there,
there's options.
There's options. Solid step is probably
Yeah, that way.
it's
We
so
were talking
simple.
about that the other day.
But when I started in this industry 8 years ago, that wasn't a thing. And when it
Yeah.
came out, I can tell you that people endlessly said they'll never use it. It is on every camper in the industry now. It is the biggest
Oh, yeah.
invention, I guess, if you call it an invention.
Well, and our
Since
very
I've been in
first
the industry.
trailer just had the standard fold out like the back, and if you hadn't got the stabilizers down, you would step on it and the whole trailer would walk back and forth. So having it grounded is kind of cool. What is this all about? We're starting to see PDI tape.
All of this is, there's different colors. So this is going to be PDI language. So red is going to be something that needs to be addressed. Yellow may be a replacement sticker. They also will use blue for bodywork. So this is each step, and it's, as you go down, there are less tape. This is really where you're going to start seeing a lot of exterior tape. But this is the PDI process that's in the plant. So there are 2 forms of PDI in the process. You have PDI that's on the line, which we talked about briefly, PDI not being controlled by plant. The people in the plant that are auditing each individual station still work in the plant. And then when we get on the other side of the wall, that is where they're doing that 100% PDI before shipment.
Give it to him and see if.
And over there is where they begin to fill out the slides before they put them in.
All the slide boxes, so once they've routed that out, all of the exterior slide is going to go back here, and this is where they're building the wall. So this is where your furniture is going to go in, your ovens, your refrigerators, all that stuff is assembled in the plant, or in the slide out box itself before it's lifted into the camper.
So if you've got a refrigerator and a sofa in there, like we have in ours, how do you get it into the trailer?
How do you lift the slide up?
Yeah.
So there is a dolly, and I don't see it anywhere right now, but it's actually, it looks like a forklift, but it's electrical, and that's what they lift it up with.
So there's not like 6 guys that grab it and shove it in there like some other places?
No. Unfortunately, I mean, I wouldn't say that doesn't happen at any manufacturing plant, but no, we actually have a little electrical dolly that they use to, and some of this, I mean, this is, even
It's
though
probably plugged in charging.
this, I can't imagine this slide weighing less than 800 pounds.
Look at that. Microwave, refrigerator, and the stove. Yeah, I
So on like our rig with the dinettes, why would a slide, as it goes out, and you've got the rubber seal on this thing, what would scratch it?
Debris really would be the only thing that could scratch it. If there's like a nail that somehow got back there, or a loose screw, something like that. It could be, so this interior side shouldn't have anything that's gonna scrape it. So you'll see, I mean, this is all rubber. So these are your weep seals. This is all of this stuff. I mean, there's nothing. So it would have to be something that got in between that. It could be a piece of wood. It could be a piece of copper. It could be
Okay.
anything like that. But there's nothing, I guess, like there's no nail sticking out of the actual wall.
Okay.
So my guess would be debris. Do you guys have something scratching yours?
Yeah, it's just showed up since he's been here. It wasn't there before.
Can you hear it where the slide goes in and out? No?
No, but I just noticed it when I got here yesterday. I was like, what the heck happened there?
Where?
On the dinette side, where the 4-chair dinette is. It almost looks like this.
Well, it wouldn't be vertical, so it's probably just the seals rubbing on the thing. And have
Well,
to clean it.
that's a stray cat that did this. When it went on Facebook that there were blue units, there were a couple people that already had ordered their units, and they're like, well, we want blue. I was like, well, I don't. Somebody called me, and they're like, hey, we want blue, like on Facebook. I was like, there's no blue. And I called your mom, like, hey, just want to run something by you. I heard we have blue full body paint. He's like, how the hell do they know already? And it was Facebook, Charles Tire. They had that unit out there, and none of us knew that they were doing that for him. But now we officially have blue. They had to go out and
Had to
add a second
step
color.
up.
Yep. So we've got blue and red now. They've got the travel trailer out at the.
Yeah, we saw it.
You saw that?
Yeah, we were behind it yesterday.
The capless travel trailer.
Capless travel trailer.
So
This is what.
Capless Valor.
The capless Mauer. That's right.
we can
That'd be
take.
a funny name.
So at this point, pretty much, I mean, everything is done outside of, just making final connections, doing some of the system checks. They've got. On the other side of the wall, I could show you where we are doing the PDI process. So this is all production. This is 100 square feet of production, and then there's going to be 20,000 square feet for just exclusively PDI.
So when we get down to the end and the cap's not on it, is that something that they're backing up or?
It's really unique how, no. So what happens is if we're short an item, they don't stop the line. So if we were short caps whenever this went online or whenever the cap was supposed to go on, that continues on the process. And then like obviously this one here has a cap, but they don't go back and correct things that are already past that station. The reason being is the people who install caps are down there, so we don't want them coming down here. So they actually have in the shortage bay, that is when anything that doesn't come off the line complete, the guys that are our utility masters that do everything will do that in our shortage bay.
So this is your trailer, James.
Yeah.
That's your trailer. See your slide out. See your refrigerator. Your little
Is there
door.
any reason why the awning on the 40 is shorter than the back awning than the others
Like your
for the
awning
back patio?
His Thule is shorter than everybody else's, he says.
this way or out?
Out on the back, not
Out?
the side. Yeah, over the back patio.
I don't even know that they make two different lengths. Maybe it's not going out all the way.
It's the arms are straight.
Yeah. I mean, if that would be something that maybe if Thule sent us, I don't think they have two dimensions, but I could be wrong. But we've been short those awnings enough times that I know that they've told us there's no substitute. So the only thing I would imagine, if you're saying it's going all the way out, it could just be something, if it is shorter, just bring it up and they can get you a new awning.
So we're sitting here and we're looking in the bays of both of these Valors, and this one has a single battery up front and a solar controller inside.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come over to this one and it has a Renogy inverter converter and more batteries, but every single one of the Valors comes with a lithium ion battery. Why? What are you guys the masters of?
12 volt. It is, so we got lucky. So Jeremiah looks like somewhat of a genius because generators are some of the hardest things to get right now. And we've sort of pioneered standard solar. And what makes our solar effective is not the components we're using, as much as the 12 volt functions that we are putting into the plant. So if you take, for instance, that standard solar package, which is two 320 watt panels, 40 amp charge controller, and that 100-hour lithium battery, and put it on the competition, it's not going to give you the same experiences that you would have on Valor. So with 12 volt, we're running slides, we're running lights, we're running landing gear, we're running 12 volt refrigerators, which we get a lot of people that want to swap out to a residential. The reason we don't have that option is because the refrigerator is the biggest function of that 12 volt package. And then when you get into Solar Plus, we've really designed a package that will run and do everything that a generator will do. The major difference being you can't purchase sunlight. Gasoline is, while expensive, it is still endless to my knowledge. So people that are...
Well, they're trying to fix that right now. So
people that are in the Northeast, people that are not enjoying sunlight of the Southeast or Florida, maybe don't get the same experience with that solar. So that's the variation between Solar Plus and that generator.
99, 100%.
And this would be where we do service work. So these 3 empty bays, well, I guess these 2 empty bays, and usually there's one back that way, but they've got some stuff piled up. This is where the units roll off the line and go on to their next journey. But if there are customer service units, this is in these two bays, which actually all week, this is the first time these 3 parking spots have been empty. So last week, or yesterday, I was in here and I was just kind of walking to go see our purchasing agent, and I walked by and there was a Gen Y hitch on a unit, and I was like, that didn't seem right. So when I came back, it was obviously a customer unit, and they had all the slides out. They were doing some sort of repair. So not only are they doing repairs out at the rally, they've actually brought some customer units back into the facilities, which is why we don't have production running this week.
taking care of the people that you need to take care of.
And this looks like some fresh paint, so I don't know why, but we won't.
Hey Ken, can you address that?
What is
that big sign that's in every single one of the plants?
Oh, so that is our mission statement. So it basically explains that what we're doing is we're trying to be dedicated to our customers and we're trying to do the right thing. It is a lot harder than it sounds to do the right thing when you think about corporate structure. So us being an independently owned, this is what we live by on a day-to-day basis. And it's not only Coley and Ryan taking care of the customer, but it's more them empowering the people that work for them to make the right decision to give the customer that great experience.
But you guys do the right thing for your employees as well. That's
we do
really
the right thing for
cool.
our employees as well, yeah. So
and this morning at the rally, someone asked Ryan and Coley if they were going to go public, and they said we don't want to be beholden to anybody else. We want to do things our own way and take care of our people. I thought that was really cool.
Well, those guys don't need to go public because they're already rich, so they're not worried about it.
This is a different entrance.
This is. We came outside, but this is. We can still get to the corporate office, but this is PDI. So this is where this is the last touch from Alliance RV before it goes to the shipping yard. This facility has actually been designed to do strictly pre-delivery inspections. Right now, what we're actually doing in this facility is this is also our shortage bay. So we've realized with the current times and the supply shortages that we not only need a team to check the units when they're 100% complete, but we need a team that we can train to do a little bit of everything to handle shortages in one area versus before when a unit came offline, it was just missing a microwave. We were maybe installing a microwave in the yard or back in the storage facility. It wasn't all being done in one place. Now we've got one way, which this is going down the shortage line, and these are going towards shipping. So we are actually now officially PDI unit that's 100% done no matter what the shortages are. So if we're waiting for 6 weeks for an awning, that unit will sit in our holding yard until the awning comes in. Once the awning comes in, it's going to go through the shortage bay. They're going to install those final parts and pieces, and then it's going to come down the shipment PDI line. That way we make sure we're actually PDIing all of the camper versus the 70 or 80% of the camper that's completed when it comes off the line.
You got 3 happy campers to be out here because those are all full body paint.
So full body, they must be getting caught up. I haven't seen this many full body paints here in a while. Wow. I thought maybe you'd see a blue one. We got a blue one that's due back like any day now. And I think I talked to him more than I talked to you guys early on. He calls me every day and asks me if it's back yet. He wants it physically. He wants it in his hands.
Yeah.
Hi, Ryan.
Well, hi, Kenneth.
What are you looking for?
I was looking for you.
Oh, are you? I don't think so.
She had a question for you.
Okay.
No, I'm just totally kidding. Do we
I don't
have a
put
set?
this anymore.
Good.
We're done.
Ken, tell me about this.
This is what we were just talking about. So this is actually, well, they've been called birth certificates, but this is a tag that everybody at Alliance, so we get everybody in the corporate office, you'll have the plant managers, everybody signs this. This is going to be the last name of the customer waiting for their unit. So we're actually going to get you one of these that says McLaughlin before you leave this week.
Sweet. We want one of those.
And that's yours truly right there.
That's you?
That's me. Let's see if this one's got all the good guys on it. This has got Coley and Ryan, which is hard to get on both. Got Jeremiah. This got no Bill Martin.
Yeah, so like, I would like
Every family
Jeremiah,
circle.
you, Bill, Curtis.
Well, so
Ryan.
we'll get you everybody here. Those guys are all at the rally, so you'll get. Bill won't be here, I don't imagine, very much in the next week or so. So, but you can get him to sign it out there.
Okay, ready? 1, 2,